All right, let's get into it. We all live in a world that basically runs on data, right? But what happens when you're an island nation, kind of out there in the middle of the huge Pacific Ocean? How do you even begin to plug into the global economy? Today, we're going to break down the incredible story of how Samoa built its own digital lifeline.
I mean, this is really the core question. And look, this isn't just about getting faster Netflix or streaming music. We're talking about access to markets, to education, to modern healthcare, really to everything. For a country like Samoa, cracking this nut is a total game changer.
So let's get our bearings for a second. We're talking about Samoa. It's a beautiful nation of islands, way out there, about 3,000 kilometers north of New Zealand. And its population, around 200,000 people, is spread out across a couple of main islands. And that geography, well, that's absolutely key to understanding the challenge here.
So before this project really got going, Samoa was facing this massive digital divide. And the root cause was pretty simple. It's profound geographic isolation. Okay, just look at this number. The cost is what's truly mind-boggling. Can you imagine paying $1,500 a month for just 1 megabit per second of bandwidth? I mean, that's an absolutely staggering price. It made high-speed internet a luxury that almost no one could afford. And that slammed the brakes on opportunities for businesses, schools, you name it. So why on earth was it so expensive? Well, this slide really breaks it down. You've got the isolation, a small market size, and a population scattered across different islands, which makes building infrastructure super hard. But the real kicker? They were completely reliant on a single, older undersea cable that just couldn't keep up. That was the bottleneck.
And that bottleneck, it actually has a technical name: first-mile connectivity. The easiest way to think about it is like the main on-ramp connecting a whole country to the global internet superhighway. And Samoa's on-ramp, it was like a narrow, super congested, single-lane dirt road. What they needed was a proper superhighway. And that is exactly what they set out to build. This brings us to the solution, this massive international effort called the Pacific Regional Connectivity Program. And as you can see from this timeline, this was no quick fix. The project got the green light back in 2015 and didn't officially wrap up until the end of 2022. We're talking about a really complex, multi-year undertaking. And this chart shows something really important. Samoa didn't do this alone, not even close. It was a true global partnership with huge funding and support from the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, all working right alongside the government of Samoa. You just can't pull off a project this big without a massive team effort.
You know, the project's original goal was incredibly focused. It was all about two things: make the internet cheaper and make more of it available. Simple, powerful, and absolutely essential. But this is where the story gets really interesting, because this project became about so much more than just laying a cable at the bottom of the ocean. By 2019, something pretty unexpected happened. The project was actually running so efficiently that it had saved over $4.3 million. I mean, think about that. This wasn't a cost overrun, it was a cost underrun. And of course, that presented a fantastic opportunity, but also a huge question. What do you do with all that surplus cash? Do you just give it back? Or do you get a little more ambitious? Well, Samoa got more ambitious. This comparison shows the evolution perfectly. They took those savings and they expanded the mission. They decided they didn't just want to build the internet highway. They wanted to build the on-ramps for a modern digital government and create a national digital ID system for every citizen. So the mission got bigger and the whole thing got more complex. But the real question is, did it actually work? Let's take a look at the results. The official rating from the World Bank was moderately satisfactory. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds kind of lukewarm, right? Like getting a C+ on a report card. But in the world of these massive international development projects, that's actually a pretty nuanced and respectable outcome. So what does it actually mean? Well, it means the main goals: cheaper, more available internet. Yeah, they pretty much got there. But as you'd probably expect with a project this complicated, there were some significant bumps and challenges during implementation. It was definitely not a perfectly smooth ride. And you know, this little detail from the report adds some real honesty to the story. At one point in 2022, the project's rating actually dipped to moderately unsatisfactory, which just goes to show how tough it was to manage all the moving parts, especially with those expanded goals. But the important thing is, they pulled it back and finished on a much stronger note. Okay, so let's zoom out for our final thought here. What can we all learn from Samoa's journey?
What's the big picture takeaway from this whole thing?
This slide just sums it up perfectly. It's a three-step process. First, you have to build the core infrastructure, that's the highway. Then, you use that highway to enable new services, things like digital government. And that is what unlocks the real potential. New jobs, economic growth, and better public services for every single person. The cable itself isn't the goal, it's just the beginning.
And that leaves us with this final, really powerful question. The foundation is laid, the highway is officially open. For the people of Samoa, this is a huge moment of opportunity. The journey to get here was long and it was challenging, for sure, but the road ahead is now wide open.